Welcome everyone to our new segment called In the Limelight. Today we've got Niti Hara from Way2Oz Migration and Education Consultancy. Hi Niti, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Harpreet. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for your time today. The purpose today is to obviously have a bit of a chat about your business, understand what makes you different, and kind of discuss your challenges, your wins, so other people who are starting the journey in the migration and consultancy business could learn from your journey as well. So, yeah, tell us a bit more about yourself. Why did you start this business?
Fine. So a bit about myself. So I have been in Australia for 19 years now. 19 years now, long time. And I have been working in corporate services for good 15 years. I worked there in a project management space. So I actually, just to give a bit of a background where I'm coming from, so I established project management, or I used to establish project management framework for different organizations.
Okay.
But at the same time, I mean, so when I moved into the country, obviously, I came in here as a student. There was no family around, and I always felt I always missed them, and I that's when I started exploring how can I bring my brother, sister. At that time, obviously, I never thought that I would be providing these services outside, but I started with my sister. I helped them with the immigration file. I did it all by myself. Got them here in 2011, so that was step one. Then over the years, I helped my brother-in-law, sister-in-law. Over the time, I got my parents' PR, my brother's PR, and every time it gave me, and it's hard to put those in words, the feeling of getting togetherness. Every time that when those PRs were granted, that visas were granted, I just felt I was over the moon. And that's when 3 years ago I felt, if I feel that, and I feel so supported because I've got my family, I've got my husband's family all over here in Australia, so I feel I feel so supported. You want your families to be around you, right? Yeah. And that's when 3 or 4 years ago I thought I need to give, I need to share this, feeling of excitement, pleasure, being supported. Yeah. And that's when I decided to step into this field, do a course. Wow. So finally, and I was working at the time, so I did it parallelly. And then I passed in high distinction, which was even a surprise to me because I was working as well. So it was a hard journey that time. And then in 2018, January, that's when I registered myself.
Very nice. And again, congratulations to you for taking such a big step. It's not really easy to leave a security of a job and then starting something which is unknown. So what were your initial fears when you were starting out?
Starting up a business. It's a different landscape. It's a different environment altogether. So, and you do a good job. And fortunately enough, I was in good position there. So yes, there was fear that should I leave this and should I step into a business world? What should be? There was no gap there. But I wanted to take that challenge. I wanted to step up. And I had everything, especially my husband's support. I had everyone's support that yes, if you want to do it, do it. Yes, there was a lot of pressure because for first couple of months I did in parallel with my job, but we overcome all those challenges. The interesting bit was it's creating those connections. It's reaching out. And business brings, you need to be across all the aspects when you're running a business. You need to know, you need to be good in networking. You need to be good in accounting. You need to be good with the operational side. You need to be good with your customers. And I think that's what makes me different in a way as well, because coming from project management space, I tend to run every case as a proper project. So I do proper planning, how and what I need to do.
And I'm sure it would have helped you because it's a lot of paperwork. You've got to be very organized. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's lots of paperwork. Every step has to be done very due diligently. You
Yeah.
cannot, there's no even a minor chance of a mistake. It can be a matter of someone's life. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it has to be the job requires a lot of attention, due diligence in play has to be in place.
Mm.
Um, so yes, but I think I got all those characteristics because of my previous work experience,
Mm.
which I bring to, and I tend to apply that even it's been 3 years. I tend to apply in all my cases I do. So there's nothing random for me. It has to be organized, and the future. There's always a future vision, future thinking when I'm taking a case. So it's not just solve this problem; it's what's next.
And you mentioned the support from the family. Of course, that is one of the most important parts as well, because it's a challenging journey as an entrepreneur, and there are ups, there's downs. There's always happens. So it's a very very important getting that support. I'm interested to know, like, how did you get your first few clients, like first few paying clients? How did you achieve that?
Luckily enough, this is interesting. Luckily enough, from my batch at the time when I was studying, I think I was the first one who registered myself.
Okay.
And the reason for that was some of the eligibility criteria I had already met before starting the course, whereas others were they finished their course and then they were meeting other eligibility criteria.
Yep.
So I was the first one to start or to register my business in that particular batch. So I had the support of my friends who I worked with, and they started reaching out. It was by word of mouth because they had studied with me, whether it was online sessions or via phone. So they knew my personality and where I'm good at. So they started bringing the clients. Oh, she's registered now. We've got someone who can help you, and she's good at it. They knew where I'm good at, or so that's where it all started. They started bringing, and then it's a chain thing.
Of course, of course. And Corona and COVID time, it was very interesting time. Obviously, you said you started in Jan 2019?
Okay.
18. Okay, so a couple of years into, you got this unprecedented kind of situation where people didn't really know how to deal with it. So what was the impact on your business, and how did you kind of deal with it?
Interestingly, Harpreet, it was other way around for me. I could see that coming, and I said, yes, it is going to impact my business.
Mm.
But it was a time when, and as you know, because of the border closures and everything, people were not able to. There were all sorts of visa issues. In fact, during COVID situation, I got a lot more business than usual, which is strange.
Mm.
And so, and my way of doing consultations or helping, it's always been digital. It's always been remotely. So for me, it never made a difference. For my clients, they always, with my first consultation, whether it's online through Zoom or via phone consultation, I think I have an ability to build that trust level.
Mm.
So I carried on that. And to me, it did not make a difference, to be honest. Yes, going out, reaching out, I had to cut down on those.
Mm.
But then I guess by God's grace, I had so many cases. I was so much involved in the operational that there was no such need to go out.
Nice.
But interestingly, but it was an opportunity to see a variety of different cases, how this COVID had impacted different people. There were some emotional stories that came along, but then there were some, a really good stories that came out of it. And I'm so grateful that I was part of it and I was able to help those people.
Very nice. The next question I was going to ask is, look, did you have to make any changes to your operation? But you mentioned that you were always digital. Are you going to go back to anything? Did you have to make any changes in your operations? Are you going to revert back, or you've learned a lot from COVID and kind of improved your operations rather than kind of struggling with it?
Obviously, with every day passing, there has been an improvement in operations, whether it was due to COVID or without COVID. So certainly, there's always a scope for, because the moment you stop thinking about continuous improvement, that's where you become stagnant, and it can create, in the long run, you can't survive that. So in terms of changes, yes, I used to take face-to-face a lot consultations. Although as I said, most of the time it was digital via phone. Over the COVID situation, gave me an opportunity to come out and have a video chat, which I was not doing before. So that was something different, which I've continued now, because people at their comfort level, they can just ring me and.
It is an amazing tool as well, isn't it? Like I remember for our business, our process was all face-to-face meetings. Like we'd book in a time, go out and see the customer. We've completely changed that, and what we felt, our productivity went up. Like to go out and see someone face-to-face, we were wasting like 2.5 to 3 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now we can have 3 meetings in those 3 hours. So yeah, for us that was a big learning change, going completely digital, going completely Zoom or video calls.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have been, as I said, I have been most of the time, but it was more of a phone consultations. There used to be face to face, but with COVID, face to face consultations went zero, and those face to face turned into to video calls or Zoom.
If you had to pick the top 3 learnings from COVID scenario for your business, what would they be?
The first learning about the digital itself. So initially, in my first year, obviously, when you, as an entrepreneur, when you step up, you're still exploring, and you want to know what's accepted and what's not, and you start comparing yourself with your fellow mates or colleagues, and you have that fear of, oh, if I don't do face to face, I don't know whether. And that's a perfect example. But one of the key learning was, no, you are just believe yourself. Build up on your capabilities. And especially in my business, in this immigration consultancy type of businesses, you need to build that trust. So I think one of the key learning, as I said, it doesn't matter how people are dealing, you have got your own way, you believe yourself. So that's most important learning. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Look, the top 3 tips for anyone who's looking to start a consultancy business or struggling.
Believe yourself, trust yourself, and just don't go by, oh, this is, this person does this. Everyone's got a different strategy to deal with different problems. You just believe yourself and try, just not try to solve a particular problem. Say what's next, how you can help someone to reap the benefit in a longer term rather than looking for a short-term objective.
Sure. That's great. Coming to 2021, obviously, I feel it's a big year for a lot of businesses coming out of COVID. What are your plans for 21 for your business, and what steps are you taking to grow your business?
I want to take it to another level now, where I want to expand and have offices in different cities. That's what the plan is. And I want this name, Way2Oz, to be recognized all over, not just Melbourne, across Australia. So everyone knows what is Way2Oz Migration and Education Services is, and they should know what they are good at. So that's my vision. The steps I'm taking, look, it's 2021, too early to say what steps I'm taking, but most importantly, I'm starting building up those partnerships across Australia. And there are some high-level planning in place, which I can't disclose at the moment, but I see that it can be accomplished in 12 months' time.
Very nice. And do you see any challenges, any obstacles for you to achieve that? And how do you trying to solve them? What are your plans to solve those challenges?
Any job, I'm a firm believer, for any job, anyone can do any job. It's the people who you work with, right? Every job teaches you that. It's the people who you work with. So, and that is the most challenging part of it. It's the people management. The
Okay.
people you're working with, they're meeting their expectations and putting out your work. So I think that's most challenging.
Yep.
And to have that skills, people skills is most important, and you can overcome any situation. No job is difficult in this world, trust
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe the biggest skill anyone could acquire right now is people management. It's one of the hardest skills to master, and it's one a lot of people don't put like focus on it. But I think people management is one of the
That's the
skills.
most important. As I say, no job is difficult in this world. No job is difficult.
Okay, so the next thing I want to ask you is like common disbeliefs or common myths about your profession, which you'd like to kind of debunk. Any common myths are there about migration and immigration consultancies?
Uh, most of the people, they do not understand the difference between a registered or a MARA agent versus an education agent.
Okay.
It's very so one of the myths is, oh, they're doing the same service, and they don't realize it. And you know how I said, education, just to clarify, education agent is someone who can help you get enrolled in the right course.
Mm.
To some extent, they might be able to help you with student visa, but if you are dealing with any visa purposes, you must deal with a MARA registered agent.
Okay.
To this, I'd like to share an experience I had, and that's very late, in fact, 2 days ago. A client of mine, she was in a big mess because of the visa situation. But as I said, I take every case very diligently. I look into, what's next? What do I need to do? And sometimes people are listening, oh, this person is, no, that's too complicated, or we can't be, just get this done. But they forget that there has to be a clear pathway for future. And this girl is in a great mess because she went through through an unregistered agent who just solved the interim problem, and he didn't think about the future. And now she's in a great mess. So that's in our business, that's the most important learning, or people should know about, that always deal with the registered migration agent. Don't try to save penny here and there, because it can put you in a big mess.
Okay, that's great. And tell us something little known, like any interesting facts from the industry.
Interesting facts. Oh, yes. Interesting facts is that there are around 7,000 MARA agents in Australia.
Wow.
And interestingly, the background is so varied. You will find lawyers, you will find engineers, you will find cab drivers, you'll find all varied of people coming from a different background who have taken this challenge, and now they are immigration agents. So this is really interesting to know their background.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think to me that's very
that is very interesting. Like there is a pathway for pretty much anyone to kind of become an agent, but it depends on your background, how good you are, and it helps. Every small thing helps. That which brings me to your competition. As you mentioned, you've got 7,000 like MARA agents there. So how do you see your competition? And do you learn from them, or ignore them, or outsmart them? How do you kind of deal with
that? We learn from them. And most importantly, I believe in grow together.
Yep.
So we have support groups. We talk to each other. We try to, because every case is unique in its own self. Mm. So we try to help each other. We try to educate each other. And that's and we have support of these, I feel like a close-knit family. And obviously, out of those 7,000, some of them very personally, others, as an acquaintance. But there's no competition. I don't believe in that. Yeah. As I said, grow together, but do the right thing. That's most important.
Very nice. Very nice.
Live by the ethics and do the right thing. don't just for the sake of making money try to put someone's situation in jeopardy.
And again, it's unfortunate. Every kind of industry will have some bad apples, which will spoil. And with your kind of profession, you're playing with people's lives. Like a small mistake could change an outcome of someone's life. Yeah. So I 100% agree. Ethics and doing the right thing and having that passion to help the individual is probably the biggest thing in your industry. Okay, so now I'm trying to understand a bit more about your business. So let's say someone's starting out, someone's just becoming a migration consultant or thinking of becoming a migration consultant. You've been doing it for, I think, almost 3 years now. What would be your key learnings? Like what would be your biggest message for them or guidance for them? Anyone looking to start out or thinking about doing it?
As I said before, this is sometimes it can become a very lucrative market. So, most importantly, first, you should know, as a migration agent, you should know how to read the immigration laws. I have seen in past, some people just go by what's there on Google or just listening to one another and not actually, going to the source of information. So please don't, that should not be the practice. You should be going by law. You should be understanding and finding the source of that information. That's going to help. So it's very important in our words. We have got a policy. We've got a library, that professional library that all immigration agents have to maintain. So my message to the new migration consultants are make sure you know how to use that library. That's going to help you. If anything wrong goes, that's going to save you. So that's very important. The second message from a business perspective, I would like to say, it's okay. You start somewhere. So you don't be scared. You should, step out of your shell, have that confidence, and slowly over the time, you'll overcome that challenge. You'll overcome your fear. But don't go by, what others are saying. You trust yourself, as I said, and try to do right things and go by ethics. So,
Great.
Yeah.
That's nice. Coming from someone who's done it for a few years, it means a lot. Okay, now the next kind of line of questioning brings me to attracting more clients. Who are your key customers and what channels are you using to kind of attract them and make them your clients?
I used the digital channels when I started. So I started with Facebook. Over the time, I've expanded it to Instagram. I put a lot of effort on my website. So digital medium was one channel. Then building network, growing up my network, going to networking meetings, all sorts of people, and then it was more of a word of mouth.
Okay.
I think I need to do more in that. And during COVID, I kind of ignored that bit because, as I said, luckily for me, I was too much busy in operational, and I had free time. So this year, that's one of my, it is one of the action items in my plan that I need to increase my presence. I need to go out. But as I said, in this industry, it's more of a word of mouth. From one, if you try, if you do the right thing for one people, they will refer you to another one.
Of course.
So yes, over the time, I have got a good bank of clients who are. There are some repeat customers or they are referring to, but I think there's a need for more.
Okay, and you mentioned you've tried Facebook. You focused on the website, Google as well. Which of the channels have performed best for you and were more effective for your business?
Performed really well. Even now, I get calls that we got your contact or someone referred to Facebook. Now, again, we deal with a variety of people. Some are digitally savvy, others are not. Some are highly, highly educated versus others are just novice, especially in this business space. So what I have found is some people would actually go to your website. They will go and check your reviews. Others would not care because they've heard from somewhere and they know. So, but for me, I think yes, Facebook has. Okay. But the trend is, I think, changing over the years. That's how I see a digital industry. Somewhere else now.
And again, it depends on business to business. Sometimes, like we run all kind of campaigns for our business, and like sometimes Google outperforms 1 month, next month Facebook will outperform. But it's important to have kind of a blend of all these channels working for you.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And have you tried? Sorry, here you go.
Sorry, I was about to say I haven't put my face out as yet, so I haven't doing any videos or haven't been to radio channels. I think I need to put, and that's one of the most important part of my plan for this year. Yeah. I need to put my face to my business. So far, I've just got Way2Oz, and that's how people know me. Now I want to put my face there.
Great.
And there was a reason why I did not do it. But I'm ready for this year to take that challenge and put my face in. Yes,
that is a big step. And let me assure you, once you start putting like a face to a brand, there are a lot of faceless brands out there. Once you start putting a face to a brand and you start going out there, the trust level increases and you get a lot more business. So I can assure you of that. We've done that for our business and we've done that for a few other of our clients. It works 100%. Have you ever tried like running paid ads, paid campaigns through Facebook or Google Ads?
I did initially. But then I kind of, as I said, I reached to a point that I don't need those. So I stopped those.
Okay. Cool. And if you had an extra budget, which channel would you spend it on and why?
I'll be again, I mean, as I said, Facebook has given me a lot of business. How I do those ads, I don't know. But yes, if that type of investment is required, why not? But I think I'll be more of sponsorship, and as I said, putting my face out, doing more of videos. Now,
so
whether I'm running those
branding, you'd invest in basically.
I will.
Great, nice. So that's all of the online marketing questions out of the way. Now I've got some personal questions like, of course, ups and downs are part of any business. Sometimes we fail, sometimes we success. How do you personally cope with failure?
It's especially in my business, as we said, we are dealing with life here. It does affect me, I'll be honest. It should not.
Yep.
But it does affect me if I see a failure in certain case. As I said before, the way to open it, if I have done right, in my heart, I know I've done right. Yes, unfortunately, the outcome may not have been favorable to a certain client or depending upon their situation. But I think the outcome is trying to remind myself again and again that I have done right. Or if I've done wrong, then where have I gone wrong? And trying to improve that. As I said, at any workplace, not just the business, any workplace, there's always a scope for continuous improvement. So I think for me, how I cope up, I try to remind myself I did the right thing. That was in other person's face, if it ever happened, but I'm trying to do the right thing.
Great. And it looks like you are someone who take your work seriously. You are very passionate about helping people. So it's hard to kind of disconnect yourself from case outcomes.
No, it's not right. But as I said, I'm not just doing it all. I'm not just doing the numbers here. Right? For these the cases, as I said, we are playing with someone's life. So it is very important for me to put that strategy in place, how I can pave a right pathway for this person.
Yeah.
So I connect myself with that particular case.
Great. And that's a positive. I wouldn't say that's a negative. For you don't treat your client just like a number. You're trying to understand the scenario, which I believe that's a big positive. So keep up with that. All right, next one is, what is the best compliment you've ever received?
The best compliment. I think people have always, and recently also it happened, they see me very strong, but very trustworthy person.
Mm.
And the best compliment, I'm just trying to think. Recently, what happened was, um, I'm not going to give you an example here, but the words that came out of someone's mouth was that we really appreciate the honesty and someone coming out of their zone and saying, I need to put my 100% in it, or I won't be able to do it. So it takes a lot of courage to assess the situation and put it out.
Great.
I can't think of a particular example, Harpreet, I think, for you. But all in all, I think overall, I would say people say they trust me, they believe in me, and that's most rewarding. That's most rewarding.
I can understand that. And one thing, tell us about one thing or one achievement in your life you're most proud of till date.
Achievement, lots of achievements, as I said. I mean,
if you had to pick one of the biggest ones or key highlights of your life, what would that be?
I celebrate every achievement, so I'm just trying to pick up the highest climbing up. I've recently stepped into another business. Yeah. I think that's the achievement that I am in parallel now, building up my profile into a new business. So I think that's a big achievement, and I have parallelly managed few work, or as I said, job and business with the family, with the kids. So that's been a big achievement for me.
What are the best resources kind of helped you along the way? Like any books, mentors, podcasts, online courses, anything like you follow which have helped you? Any YouTube channels which you want to let audience know?
So I think listening to other entrepreneurs' stories has really motivated me. And as I said, stepping, from corporate world into a business world was a challenge, and that so being part of those network meetings, listening to those people, what their journey has been, how they have overcome different, and always taking the good bits out of it and taking those learnings and making part of my improvement processes. So I don't follow particularly someone, but I watch TED Talks. That's good. So those are really some motivational talks.
Yep.
That's really helped me. Because I get inspired by people who have come through, and now they're really sitting at a higher in their work or in their personal life, and how they have overcome.
Yeah. There are so many journeys out there which are like inspiring. So that's great. All right. So if anyone who's listening or watching us and they want to get in touch with you, they want to seek your services, what are the best ways to get in touch with you? How can they reach you?
So I've got my phone number. I'm happy to put out the phone number, which is 0469 839 836.
Yep.
They can contact me on this number, or they email me at info@way2oz.com. And of course, via Facebook, they can message me and they can reach out to me.
That's great. And just quickly before you go as well, what is the process? Like when someone gets in touch with you, what can they expect? Can they expect a free consultation? What is the process of engaging you?
Initially, in most of the situations, the first consultation is a free consultation, because obviously we need to understand what they're asking for before we ask for money. And then depending upon what kind of consultation or what kind of case it is, that's when we start charging or billing the customer. But that's always put in forefront, that this is what you could expect, this is how much the cost will be incurred, and that's all done in writing.
Yeah, so there are no surprises, like everything's in upfront.
In black and white, and yeah.
Great. Again, look, thank you very much, Niti, for your time, and for our audience, for our followers, people who are listening. If you are looking for an honest and genuine migration lawyer or education consultant, I think Way2Oz and Niti Hara is based on our conversation feels like a right fit. Way someone who doesn't just treat you like a number and gives you a personalized service, definitely get in touch with Way2Oz Migration and Education Consultancy and Niti Hara. Highly recommended here from Quint Digital and Harpreet Singh. On that note, signing off. Thank you again, Niti, for your time. We do truly appreciate that.
Thanks.